each and every single day, week, month, or years, Sonic's popularity continues to grow and grow even more, and now his games are starting to become a little bit better than how they used to be. And now, after having two successful movies and a show, which I don't know if I'll talk about as of yet, but at some point maybe. But we are now onto a third movie in a franchise. And I always keep on saying the same things, especially with sequels. Can they still retain the same momentum that they had with the first or even the second movie? Again, you are now in sequel territory. This could all fall apart at any moment. So can you still maintain that same momentum that the last few movies have done? Please, can you? Because I really would like to see them be successful as they can be, especially if they are going to continue to be as good as they are each time.
Welcome home, my boy.
It's impossible.
Is it?
It couldn't be.
Couldn't it?
I am...
Are you? In the saggy flesh.
Sonic the Hedgehog 3 is again directed by Jeff Fowler with a screenplay again by Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington, and a story again by Pat Casey and Josh Miller. The film stars Jim Carrey, Ben Schwartz, Krysten Ritter, Natasha Rothwell, Shemar, James Marsden, Tika Sumpter, Idris Elba, and Keanu Reeves. According to IMDb's plot synopsis, Sonic, Knuckles, and Tails reunite against a powerful new adversary, Shadow, a mysterious villain that with powers unlike anything they have faced before. With their abilities outmatched, Team Sonic must seek out an unlikely alliance. Sonic has been on a comeback as of recently. Like I said, his games are now starting to become a little bit better, and let's face it, something that most fans wouldn't have said about the Blue Blur 10, maybe 15 years ago. Nobody would be saying this type of thing. Alright, nobody would be saying that Sonic would be cool again, or better yet, popular. Now that we're on the third film, hopefully the team behind these films can still deliver on something that people can always go and enjoy. And of course, with this movie, people were really excited to see where this third movie was heading for. The post-credit scene of Sonic 2, and spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Sonic 2, again, I understand it's now, 2 years ago that this movie was made, so I understand that, but still, I just want to say that, just to be safe, teased another famous character from the game series, and that is Shadow the Hedgehog. Shadow is one of those characters that is, of course, a creation of, I believe, the early 2000s. I mean, come on, let's face it, he's an anti-hero of sorts in the games from what I've heard, and at the very least, he has always been portrayed as being very moody, very edgy. He even has his own games where he goes around, uses real guns, rides a motorcycle. I mean, come on, that is a product of the 2000s. Add on Keanu Reeves voicing the character of Shadow, and that already piques my interest because, of course, I love Keanu. I know he's not the most amazing actor, but he is always a fun time, at least with me. And I love the John Wick films. I can't resist this man. People became excited about this third film going forward. People were already looking forward to seeing what Keanu could bring to this, or at the very least really capture the feeling of what Shadow is supposed to be. And I'm happy to report after seeing it, I would put this slightly above or the same level as the second movie. And yes, I still have my few issues that still holds this movie back. I wish these issues could be fixed, but before I can get any further with that, here are some of the positives. The performances, they're still entertaining. They're still fun to watch. Ben Schwartz is still energetic as Sonic. Again, Schwartz brings his all and his passion for the character, and something that I always am happy to see an actor give it his all with regards to a role that, again, could have come off as being so dumb and so bad, but Schwartz, somehow his voice acting still naturally fits Sonic. He just knows how to balance out the comedy and the drama that Sonic brings. But at the very least, Schwartz seems like he is always having a fun time playing this character, and I think this is one that he will always likely want to keep on voicing, at least for a good while. Colleen O'Shaughnessy is still optimistic and loyal as Tails. O'Shaughnessy still retains the same personality as she did with the last movie, still retain with what the character is like from the games and into the movie, and I'm glad that we still get to see that dynamic that he and Sonic have, and it's a very enjoyable and loving relationship as friends, and it's cool to see that again she gets a chance to still return and still play a big role in the movies, or at the very least still be somebody from the games to be brought in for the movies, and I'm just happy that she gets a chance to bring that to the fans. Idris Elba continues to be funny as Knuckles. Elba brings the deadpan and exaggerated take that he brought from the last film. Somebody who takes things way too seriously, somebody who doesn't fully understand human customs, or better yet, just how jokes work. And yet, Idris Elba, you want to talk about somebody who is also dedicated. There was even video of him in the recording sessions with knuckles gloves as he's recording his line. And if that is somebody who really loves this role, I don't know what is, because that's something else to actually have the gloves with you to record. Now, that could be just for the video's sake, but if that is actually true, I love Idris Elba. This man also seems like he's having fun with this. Together, both Schwartz, O'Shaughnessy, and Elba are excellent with each other and have a great dynamic that plays out throughout this entire movie. You get to see how the Sonic team actually works well off of each other, of course having different personalities and different abilities, but just seeing how they work together as a group and how their dynamic actually functions, and to see their dynamic now fully formed, or at the very least like now being brought together in this movie, I think was awesome. And I think this makes every Sonic fan just now happy knowing that these three are now together, they are now a team, and they are here to stay. Keanu Reeves is perfect as Shadow. Due to the dark and moody nature, Reeves' voice and delivery fits perfectly with what this character is supposed to be. I don't think I could picture anybody else playing this role, as much as there was rumors for a while that people wanted somebody like Hayden Christensen, and I wouldn't have minded that. I mean, his delivery and how his voice sounds, it just fits Shadow so perfectly. Especially when I look at the character of Shadow, I'm like, yeah, that fits. that tracks. And he actually does pretty well in the movie, considering the fact that, listen, Keanu Reeves, he's not like a thespian in some way, but man, I don't care. I just love Keanu and his dedication and his passion for projects that he takes on, especially for this. I mean, you can really tell in this movie that he does bring his all, as much as I know so many people can say about if his acting is good or not. For me, I don't care. I still think he fits well with what the character is supposed to be. Jim Carrey still knocks it out of the park as Dr. Robotnik, and he continues to bring the laughs all throughout this entire movie. Jim Carrey, of course, a lot of people were worried that he was never going to come back, especially with reports that he was going to retire after the second movie, and of course, that never happened, so we got him again. And who knows if this might be the last time we see of him, but man, Jim Carrey just always shows up for these movies and gives it his all. 100% of the time, this man will always continue to still shine the most throughout this entire now trilogy, but who knows, there could be more, but still, for this trilogy, he shines the most. And Carrey is also amazing as Gerald Robotnik, who is Robotnik's grandfather. Though similar to his grandson, Carrey plays Gerald as a more tough and heartless villain than his grandson is, and it makes it now easy to distinguish between the two, in that, yes, they're kind of similar with their quirks and their antics, but one is different than the other, and they are believable in a way in which you can differentiate between the two. And Carrey is excellent in both roles, that they both feel like completely different characters from each other. Like, when I see these two in the film, on screen, and I'm pretty sure there was doubles to stand in for, or replacements with visual effects, he's amazing. I don't know what it is. Jim Carrey just works well with Jim Carrey. Okay, like there's just no denying the amount of energy that Carrey brings to both of these roles. And he's playing dual roles. That's pretty amazing to see somebody of his caliber at his age still pull off oh so well. And I very much loved seeing that. And also, Carrey works well off of Reeves too. And the dynamic that Carrey gives off when he's Gerald with Shadow, I liked. I appreciate and really like seeing how this relationship was and how it was developed throughout the movie, and to see both Carrey and Reeves kind of go back and forth with each other, I thought was actually pretty cool. The direction, it's amazing. Once again, director Jeff Fowler continues to deliver on giving audiences, fans, and newcomers a fun time. He still knows what to do with this franchise. If for nothing else, I think Jeff Fowler has now saved his career after what could have been disastrous after the first trailer for Sonic, and he has now redeemed himself in a way that where after this, I mean, if he wants to continue making Sonic stuff, fine, but I mean, if he wants to continue to do something else, I'd be fine too, because I think he solidified his love and passion for a project in Sonic, or at least in all three of them in this case, where he does show how much this truly means to him, or at the very least, he delivers something that audiences audiences and newcomers can all get behind. The action is thrilling. Every action sequence that involves Sonic and Co. When Shadow is thrown into this movie, it's even more exciting. It's already cool enough when Sonic and Tails and Knuckles they fight. Cool, it's fun. When Shadow's now into the mix, that's pretty cool, man. That's pretty badass if you ask me. And to see Sonic and Shadow fight each other out, it was pretty awesome. I'm not gonna lie, especially near the end of the movie, it was pretty badass to see these two go at each other. And Shadow just amps up the sequences that gets audiences even more hyped up, and it very much shows how much we have come a long way with regards to the action. And again, the action in the first movie is not terrible; it's good, but we are now at action where this is now almost like a superhero movie, or better yet, like some people could even compare this to maybe Dragon Ball Z in how ridiculous and crazy that this series has gotten. But it's just awesome, and just Shadow being in those action sequences was pretty cool to see. The visuals are incredible. Not only are Sonic and Co. look amazing in terms of the design, of course they still retain what they had with the first two movies, but the other effects are still stunning. It has come a long way from the first movie, because of course the first movie didn't have a big of a budget as this movie, because this movie now costs $122 million compared to the first, which had like a budget of 80 to like 90 million. So it was still under like $100 million. And so to have Sonic now be 122 million and have effects that look so good, I'm stunned. I'm actually surprised that the effects, the detailing on Sonic, Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, and even just some of the environments looks pretty good. I was actually kind of surprised on how much they put a lot of work and detail into these characters and making sure that they feel and look as good as they can be. The story is intense. Seeing Sonic and company go up against Shadow and having to work with Dr. Robotnik made for an intense, hilarious, and emotional time. It amps everything up from the previous two movies, and it gives audiences something to really be excited about. And to now have Shadow in this movie, Keanu Reeves still delivering his Keanu Reeves isms, I love it. It's cool. It's awesome. The story was much more intense than I thought it had any right to be, and it was just cool to see that the filmmakers involved they amped it up. The writing is solid. Writers Pat Casey, Josh Miller, and John Whittington blends together the drama and comedy very well. And again, they balance everything out for both fans and newcomers. I'm telling you, these writers, regardless on if it's like the most amazing writing, because I'm not going to sit here and say that it's not always great, but it's solid enough to where the foundation there feels as if they have, or at the very least, know what they are doing. They know how this franchise works. They know what to bring for audiences. And it's great to see and know that you have writers who do actually put a lot of effort into making sure that people can enjoy these movies for not just newcomers, but so that way fans can still be a part of this, knowing that they're not being treated as idiots or like they're being belittled. They are being treated as respectful as they can be. And that's hard to say a lot of times for Sonic fans, but still, it's cool, it's awesome, and it's nice to see knowing that writers actually do care about something like this. The music is terrific. Once again, Tom Holkenberg still delivers a score that ramps every action and drama scene, continuing to respect what the character is supposed to be. And the music in here, I think, is probably the best of all three of them. And I think it still continues to deliver on the feels of what Sonic is and how his character and all the other characters are supposed to be. And it's great knowing that you have a composer like Tom Holkenberg still working on a video game adaptation for a third time and still delivering on something that people can really enjoy. The cinematography is gorgeous. Again, cinematographer Brandon Trost continues to keep the camera focused on Sonic, Shadow, and the other characters when their moment happens, keeping it all exciting, especially when the action sequences go down. He does a pretty good job of making sure that you see that action from like a very wide shot, and or at the very least a medium shot where you could see the action, and it's just cool seeing how it's all like framed, and you could pretty much like take a picture of this movie, like a frame of this movie in terms of when action sequences or drama sequences go down. There's just something about the camera work in this movie that feels as if they have the action down with regards to how the camera is supposed to be and how it's all supposed to film, and that is due to Brandon Trost's cinematography. It's all great, but there are some issues that I will say still again hold it back for me, and I wish these weren't the issues, but it's still something that I have to mention because they are still problems for me. So here are now the negatives. The pacing and runtime, if you ask me, is a bit long. Scenes are a bit drawn out. With a runtime of 1 hour and 50 minutes, I still don't think this should have been near 2 hours. If you ask me, I think the first movie, had the right idea with regards to pacing. and runtime, in that it just got to the point. There are just a couple of times in this movie where it does feel like scenes would kind of feel like they kind of stopped or slowed down a bit that I feel like otherwise should have been sped up a little bit more. And I just don't really think a Sonic movie like this should be near 2 hours, especially with the last movie being at 2 hours. I just don't think this movie needed to be close to that at all. The gun subplot is pointless. Krysten Ritter, who really, if you ask me, isn't given much, and I feel like they should have given her something else because I just feel like she just plays generic soldier. And I hate to say that about her, especially Jessica Jones herself, but her and the gun involvement feels useless to the overall plot, if you ask me. There's this whole thing about Sonic and Co. on the run and whatnot, and she just doesn't trust him. It's the like old telling of she doesn't trust our heroes because they didn't give her something that she wanted, or they feel like she never trusted them at all. It's a cliche that you see a lot of the times in movies like this, and it could have been useful, but it just in the end it doesn't lead to much. It's just really there for like one sequence, like their involvement with Gunn, and otherwise you could have completely either removed them or at the very least given them something more to do, but you just kind of half-assed it. I am surprised that these films continue to either get better or be on par as the previous movies. People behind these movies continue to show their love and dedication to this series. You could tell how much these people are fans of this character and this franchise. I still kind of wish these issues were fixed, but it's not enough to ruin the experience for me. I still had an amazing time. I had a fun time, especially when I saw it. It was kind of cool to watch this and to experience it all, and it was just fun, and I had a good time while watching it. I'm going to give Sonic the Hedgehog 3 an 8 out of 10. I think this is one that still delivers on things that Sonic fans come to expect with Sonic, and I hope that this franchise still continue to find ways to bring in stuff from the games, but do it in a way that doesn't feel like you have to have knowledge about these characters. And if the Sonic team can still deliver on that, they have respects in my book. So now I'll be doing my review for the Lion King live action from 2019, and then soon Mufasa, and then of course A Complete Unknown, and I can do my best of and worst of list of 2024. So yes, look forward to those reviews and other movie TV show reviews coming soon.